I haven't stopped working on the pinball machine with all the other projects I got going on. I have been kind of working away slowly at it here. I was going to show a little bit what some of the progress is. I've been working on the upper parts of the playfield finally. Decided I was going to put in a little, just kind of hack something together. Did some little wire forms down here and some inserts that I'm going to light up at some point. There's a spinner in front of it that is going to kind of work with that a little bit. That's not the important thing. Oh, here comes my little helper here. This is Charlotte. She always comes in to help. So what I'm working on here was I'm putting in some of these little guide lanes up here. And I have to cut some slots for the switches. So in the past, I was trying to do some things with just kind of putting like a straight edge or something out there and running a router. And I ended up getting, it's like when I bore the start hole, I was using a drill. I'd bore a start and end hole or something like that, and then just kind of take the router with that straight edge and go down. Yeah, it kind of looked a little bit, you see each end's a little larger and kind of not the greatest looking. It worked. I figured I'd build a template because that's what I constantly am doing. Something just kind of simplify the process. So what I ended up doing, and I'm still not done with this, I'm still experimenting, and I'll put the numbers up on all the different things of what I finally settled on to work with this. But I take a router and use one of the bushings that you can get in the kits, and essentially I run that, take one of the bits. First thing I did was I picked out one of the bushings. In my case it was an 1 inch outside diameter, and I took another bit that goes for the router. This is like an inch flush cut or straight cut bit on that, and I just kind of cut that out. So on this I'm lucky. I've got it's not the greatest thing ever, but I got one of those little mini mills a billion years ago. I got it from Grizzly Tools, and it's pretty small and had its share of problems. It just got it up and running again. It has plastic gears in it. I've worked to replace some of those at this point with a place called Little Machine Shop. Sold some metal gears for it. So I replaced the one that broke and got it up running. It's got an XY table on it, which is a nice thing, so I can control the feed on this. So I took that and I just took a 1 inch Forstner bit, put a start hole. I figured out how long I wanted it, and then all the offsets and everything, and I ran that through the router, or not the router, the mini mill, and cut that slot in there. So now what happens is that bushing will ride in there just perfectly, without any side-to-side motion. And I cut it to the length that I want. I don't know if this is the final length that I'm going to go with. I actually set it at 1.5 inches, or 1.5 inches. And that's what the slot size it'll cut. So I thought I had some the switches that rollover not a rollover, whatever they call those little switches. I thought I had some that were bigger than 1.25 inches. I know I've got some that are 1.25 inches that I salvaged, and I did the 1.5 inches on it. We'll see. Either way, it's a kind of a DIY. It's a prototype whitewood, so it's not the end of the world. Anyway, so I routed that in. And then what I had to do was I had to get in that bushing. I had to get I put an 1/8 inch bit in that, straight bit, and then I just kind of clamped that thing down on the surface, lined it up where I wanted it, clamped it down. I put some guide marks on here so I can see where the center and where the start and end marks are. Do the same thing on the play field, and I just kind of lined those marks up, clamp it down. I use some deep clamps here. I'll reach down. I'm going to disappear for just a second as I reach over here to get one of these. So I use these long reach clamps I got from Harbor Freight, and I just kind of put them under. Actually, I flip them upside down in this case so that part isn't up, and then I can reach in and clamp it. In a lot of places on the play field, pretty much I can reach most anything. These are, I think these are 8 inch clamps. I think they might have 12 inch clamps. So if you needed a further reach, you could get those. Anyway, so I just kind of clamp that down, take that bushing with a 1/8 inch bit, or not 1/8, sorry, that was all wrong, 3/16 inch bit. Ignore that 1/8 bit part there. And just kind of put that in, take the router and run it through, and I get a nice little clean slot that I can put my switch through. Well, again, when I'm all finished with this, I've got some other things I'm working on with this. This part of it worked right, so I'll put those numbers up at a later point in time in the text of what I ultimately I think I worked with. Like I said, a 1-inch outside diameter bushing. It really doesn't matter on the inside diameter. The 1-inch straight cutter for the router to be able to cut this in. And then when I go to make the slot, then it's just I swap out that 1-inch cutter and I replace it with that 3/16" bit and straight bit, and I just kind of cut that in place, and that's it. I'll talk later about trying to get some round inserts in, a different technique I use from what everybody else uses, and I'll explain that in another video, why I'm trying that. That's the one I'm still trying to finalize on what size router bits I need. Anyway, there's some progress going on with this. Next video I'll probably talk about those round inserts, how I'm doing that. So, I'll be shooting another video later.